Hi, welcome to another edition of It's All About the Dogs. I'm your host, George Quinlan, and today I'm very excited. Ashley Gray is with me. Ashley has her own show here, and so we're going to make a two-part show for this on introducing dog training to a dog. And one thing that you're going to really love about this show is I've never been around Ashley and not smiled. So it's an automatic thing. So you'll find that her dog seems to be always smiling as so. And once you meet her, you'll find out why. So Ashley, great. I am so looking forward to doing this with you.
Thank you for letting us join your show today.
Oh, it's
we
a lot
really
of fun.
appreciate it.
What we want to do today in this show is we want to talk about a lot of people don't think they can have dogs, or if they have a dog, they just run around the house because they're not able to give them the exercise they need, or to train them from a wheelchair, or maybe I have what's called armchair dog training. So I figure if we can do armchair dog training, we should be able to do wheelchair dog training, right?
Awesome, yes.
Okay. And another thing you mentioned to me earlier is that you have some bad days, and the dog seems to know when you have a good day or a bad day.
It's funny how they sense how dogs sense like when you're sad or when you're excited or like when they miss you.
Sure, absolutely. And when you have your bad days, are there some days that you find yourself in not getting out of bed as easy, or you hang out in bed a little bit longer?
I'm just like, I just like lag around the house and just like in bed. So he usually lays down with me or something.
So he comes up on the bed and hangs out with you
Yes.
then, right? Good. And so one of the things that you mentioned to me was he's not able to jump up on your lap for a variety of reasons.
Right.
One reason that we can see, he's a little round.
Yes.
Right? So that doesn't make it easy for him to jump up on your lap, is it?
No.
So what are you doing right now when you want to get him onto your lap?
Right now, I usually let him on my bed. Like I just say, "Come here, Romo," you know. Like I put my hand there and I like say, "Come here, Romo," and like I'm all excited about it. And then he knows
like that.
He knows that it's okay to jump on my bed, and then I usually scoop my wheelchair right next to my bed and then just grab him that way.
Good.
So that way I'm not pulling him up.
I'm laughing because you don't see he's rolling around in the back of you.
Yes.
So the idea is so what's your cue to get him to go up in your bed?
I usually just tap on my bed and just say, "Come here, Romo, come here, Romo."
Good boy. Now praise him, because see how you're doing this? And he is trying. He's a little confused.
Yes.
So what can we do to make it easier for him? Right? That's what we're going to look at right now. So what does his name mean?
Well, I can give you the short term because he likes to roam around, as you can see.
Yeah.
Right now he's attached to my wheelchair, so he can't really roam around. But usually I have him on my other shows with me sometimes. So and the audience likes to see him, but it's hard for the audience to see him because he's roaming around. So that's how he got his name, because he likes to roam around.
Hard for the audience. I couldn't find him. He disappears. He walks out in the studio, and I know he's here somewhere, but I can't find him. He's so yeah, he's quite an interesting little guy, and he really roams and does a lot of investigating, which is nice personality. And he's using his nose a lot in here, and that's something I want you to think about. We're going to come back to that a little bit later, okay? So his name means because he loves to roam, and also, but he was named after a football player.
Yes.
Maybe say, okay. But what's it mean?
What's his name mean?
Yeah. Think of that for a second. When your mom calls you, your name,
it means I want him to look at me,
or at least acknowledge you, right? To be aware of you, and that's what we're going to do. So what happens, Ashley, oftentimes is people overuse the dog's name.
And I do that as my own mistake. So.
Okay. So we need to come up with a nickname for him.
Okay.
All right? You and your mom have to decide on what kind of nickname you want to use for little bugger. Okay? You can call him Turtle. I don't know.
Well, I call him. I don't really know if it's a nickname, but I call him my baby because he follows me everywhere around the house. Yeah. But I don't really know if that's a good nickname. I don't know if that's a really a nickname that he But that's all my friends know that. That's what I call him for my nickname for him, but...
That's perfect, because everybody knows when you say about your baby, you're talking about your puppy.
Yes.
So, and he doesn't really care one way or the other.
Right.
Good. So we're going to use that for his nickname, and when we say his name, we're going to teach him to look at you, okay? So, things we want to look at today is because we're going to do two parts, we're going to do... the first part we're going to do finding out what their needs are. And the second part we're going to do on Ashley's show. And so we don't bore you with a whole hour. You can take a little break, a commercial break, so to speak. And then when Ashley comes on and does her show, we're going to show some of the training tips and techniques that we use. Okay? Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
One of the things you said is that you don't want him on the couch anymore.
No, because the hard thing for us, because he was able to go on our old couch, because we had an old couch, and he was adapted to letting us be allowed for him to go on the old couch. But now we just got a brand new couch, and we trying to teach him not to go on the couch. So what is the best way for us to teach him not to go on the new couch?
On the old couch, was he allowed to get on freely whenever he wanted to?
Yes, so that's the problem that we're having.
All right. So he got rewarded for ever going up there just by the action by itself.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So the theory, the way we talk about training theory or learning how animals learn is a behavior that gets rewarded will tend to increase in probability, which means it'll repeat itself. So because he was allowed to get up on the couch whenever he wanted to, he got self-rewarded, or he would get rewarded from you.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. So you understand that. All right. So if we want to teach a dog not to do something that he's been allowed to do,
how do we flip-flop that?
I guess we're just going to have to, I guess a lot of dog trainers would just tell you're going to have to start dominating and being more alpha to your dog. You're going to have to roll him over on his back.
No, that's not.
Oh, there's no way of training a dog. You got to, Ashley.
That's not, that would not be okay with me to dominate my dog.
But don't you think he's trying to take over the house? He's dominating. He's getting up on the couch whenever he wants.
No.
Okay. That's a good girl. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. All right?
Okay.
Can't do it for multiple reasons. And just because we can, right, just because I physically can go catch this dog and dominate him doesn't mean it's right. And yet we're told, and you read in books still, after all these years, people are still talking about you have to be alpha and dominate.
No, I don't believe in that. Other people might, but I don't believe in that.
And first of all, even let's just say somebody's convinced you, how are you going to do it? You can't do it. So it doesn't work for multiple reasons, right?
Right.
And that's the point we're trying to make today, isn't it? There are many people who own dogs who physically are physically incapable of doing it and emotionally incapable of doing it. They choose not to do it. So if we can train dogs without using it, why do we need to use it? You know why we need to use it, in my thinking? Because so many people think they can.
Yep.
Just because you can doesn't mean it's right.
Exactly. That's exactly.
So what we need to do is we have to start using a vocabulary with him. We need to give him a doggy dictionary.
A doggy dictionary.
A doggy dictionary. So we need to be able to teach him to getting on the couch. Since he's been allowed on the couch already, we can't punish him for getting up there. But if we teach him to get up on the couch on command, we need to give him a word, not just tapping.
Okay.
You can tap, but you told me there are a lot of people who cannot use their hands.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
You have a lot of mobility with your hands.
I have mobility, but some people with other disabilities may not have the ability to use their arms.
Okay, so we need to come up with a way, not only for you, but for anybody watching who might have family members or maybe sitting in a wheelchair at home and they want a dog and they think they can't have it, or they have a dog and it's completely out of control and they just live with it because there's not much they think they can do, right? So if we want your dog to get up on the couch, we are going to condition the dog to get up there when you recommend it, right? You start with them getting up on their own. And can you teach him, will he get off on his own?
When he wants to. I mean, if I tell him that I don't want him on the couch, I just say, Romo, get off the couch.
Baby, get off the couch.
Okay. That would be my cue.
Well, okay, so we're going to use his name, but not right now unless we want to address him, right? Because when we say, remember, we want to teach him to look at you whenever you say his name, or at least twitch his little ears.
Yep.
Okay, and they're tiny, so you have to really look at them. But he's being a good boy right now.
And, he is being a very good boy.
So where I'm going with this is Right now, he's always been allowed to get up on the couch.
Yes.
And you want it to stop.
Yes.
All right. So you can't punish him because he's been allowed to get up there.
Right.
So we need to be able to put a cue word on to get on and to get off.
Okay.
And we're going to reteach him.
Okay.
All right. That's phase one of where we're going to do our training today. The second part is, how about if we use a clicker?
We can use a clicker for me, but I don't know if that would work for other people with disabilities.
Right. So we need, again, find a way that not only work for you, but will work for many, many other people as well.
Other audience that are watching the show.
Okay. So we've got to come up with a plan to be able to mark the behavior. That's the term used. We can just acknowledge, mark the behavior, whatever you want to use. We're not going to make this really complicated scientific dog training. What we're going to do is teach you everyday, realistic dog training in your home.
Okay.
So we need to come up with a way to let the dog know that he did the right thing. All right? So dominating won't work.
No.
It's not going to work.
That's not in my forte.
Do you know what a lot of people don't know about what that dominating philosophy of when you dominate a dog? A lot of people don't realize that you may accomplish it in this case, but if it's something the dog wants bad enough, he can just learn to do it when you're not there.
Right.
So it'll show up somewhere else, won't it?
Yes.
So that's kind of productive and proves that it may work temporarily, it may work. You know what a good example is? Does he jump on people?
If he gets excited, like my meme, when she walks through the door and gets all excited and she sits down, he automatically jumps on her because he's so excited to see her, happy to see her and stuff. So
he's a happy puppy.
He is a very happy puppy. He's very energetic.
And one of the things I found
right now he's not very energetic, but usually when he's at
he will be in a minute.
Yes.
Because when we taught him, you're such a goofy, you have to stay there. And when he looks at you, you're going to just smile and tell him he's a good boy when he just looks at you right now. And then in the second phase, we're going to start adding the training.
Okay.
Because I praised him, and he immediately got up and he wanted to come to me, right?
Yes.
Earlier when I first met him, because I just met him just a little while ago, when he was across the studio, I called him by his name. He looked at me. I got down, and I praised and laughed and giggled, and he came running up to me and immediately jumped up and licked me in the face.
Yep, that's his.
And
his
we
way
never
of
want to lose
you.
that. Yeah, we don't want to lose that in him. That's a good boy.
Good boy, Romo.
Oh, the little tummy rub. Oh. So, how are you going to rub his tummy like I just did?
Well, usually when he wants me to rub his belly, he jumps on my bed, so because I'd be able to reach, so he knows the difference. It's funny that he knows the difference that I'm in a chair. I don't know if the dogs just sense that or whatever, but usually when he wants me to pat him or whatever, he jumps on the bed and then I pat him because he knows it's level where I can reach.
That's right. And what's the reward for jumping up there at that time?
I just pat him or whatever and get excited and
So what's the reward?
Usually,
that love. That's the reward.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be food. So even though we teach, because your mom asked me earlier, if we teach with food, because he's a little round, isn't he? And we want to be careful about the type of food the type of food we use to train, and how much we give him, and so giving him what he wants. What constitutes a reward for a dog?
Love and a treat.
And
usually.
What else? Treat, love. What else?
Not really sure.
A toy.
A toy. Yeah, that would work.
And sometimes whatever they want at that particular moment is a reward.
Okay.
Right? For instance, one of the things he really, really enjoys doing is roaming around sniffing the studio.
Yes, he does enjoy that.
So when he does something nice and you think, okay, go play, now that gives him permission to go off and play.
Roam,
That's a reward for being a good dog here.
Yes.
Make sense?
Yes, it does.
So a reward isn't just food.
It could be a toy.
It could be a toy. It could be affection because he's already learned to get your attention. So once you understand that what becomes a reward to your dog, you can utilize that in everyday life.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? What does the dog like? Sometimes what happens is we were so concerned about what we like and we want to touch the dog, and some dogs don't like to be touched.
Right.
He likes to be touched.
He
so
does.
We're going to use this on.
But some dogs don't like to be touched.
Some dogs don't. Absolutely. Some dogs like to be close to you,
Yes.
but they don't appreciate the touch as much as other dogs
Yes.
do. Okay? So we're going to find out what he enjoys as a reward.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes.
I also want to talk about food. When you use a food, I want you to find 3
Health.
value system.
Okay. Like healthy wise or like?
Yeah, definitely stay away from any chemical and preservative type treats, okay? Because we don't need to add any more negative stuff into our system. But there's a lot of healthy food. One of my favorite dog training treats comes right out of Trader Joe's here in Portland. And it's called, I always call them gummy bears. I think they're called Charlie bears. And they're inexpensive, and they're one of the best little training treats. It looks like a little oysterette cracker.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
But when you use food, you want to take away from supper at night. You can use, a high value would be, let's say, the food we're eating right now is natural balance. Let's say, we can say hot dog, cheese, kibble.
Okay.
Just to give you an example.
All right.
All right? So you need to find out what he really, really likes to get his attention, and then you're going to eventually transfer it down to kibble. So you start with a high value food, and then you start weaning it down to a lower value.
So that way he knows that he won't always get a treat when he.
Yeah. If a high value food will encourage him to want to learn. A lower value food means he already knows the behavior,
Yes.
and he still wants to get the reward.
Okay.
The kibble he gets every night, so we want to transfer eventually down the kibble, so we don't end up we keep him healthy.
Giving him something that he's not allowed. Giving him like something he's not allowed to have.
Yeah. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So the idea is we want to use his food in order to as a reward, and we can train him during dinner time.
Yeah, that would work too.
What a great way to introduce new things. Okay, so one of the issues that we have was we want to teach him he's allowed on furniture, but we don't want him to get in the couch anymore freely on his own.
Right.
Okay. The other thing is that we need to come up with cues for you and for everybody else for their dog that would benefit communication skills with them and their dog. So
Right.
we're going to talk about you.
Okay.
And then if anybody has any questions, they can contact either you or I for further information if we don't cover it on the show.
Sounds like a plan.
Because it's only a short time. We can't cover everything,
Yes.
okay? So one of the things that I like to do is I encourage a dog to succeed doing something before I put a name on it.
Okay.
So we get a behavior first.
I have a question.
Okay.
Before we will I be able to teach him all the stuff because I'm a softie. See,
Yep.
like I let him get away with stuff, and so, and my mom is not a softie because he listens to her better than he listens to me because he knows I'm a softie.
Okay.
So I didn't know if there was a way that I could learn to teach him the stuff that we're teaching him today, but also be a softie at like 50-50.
Absolutely. Because you're not the only one in this world that's a softie to the dog.
Right.
All right? And lots of times this is why we have dogs.
Right.
They're emotional bonding to us. They make us laugh. They share some times that nobody else could share with us, okay? And so I want you to think of the principles of training a dog, all right? We started to talk about this. A behavior that gets rewarded will tend to increase in probability. So behavior that you like, if you keep focusing, rewarding that behavior, it'll keep repeating itself. A behavior that you don't want, if you keep rewarding it accidentally, that behavior will keep happening.
Okay.
An example would be he likes to roam around the studio, but he's always been allowed to roam around the studio, right? So we need to teach him that being close to you is even more important than roaming through the studio. And we could use roaming through the studio as a reward.
Okay.
All right? I'll give you an example. There are 3 things, Ashley, that I believe, and I say this all the time, and I'm going to look right at the camera and say this again because I would love for any dog trainer out there that's viewing this to come up with an alternative and why to the 3 things that I believe that work every single time that I've trained dogs in over 40 years. I'm stuttering here because I'm trying to find a nice way to word it for you, okay, is one of them, there's three behaviors that I want my dogs to learn, all my dogs. I don't care if I've raised them as a puppy. I don't care if they just came into me from a research laboratory where I used to get my dogs from. I don't care if they come from the South. I don't care where they come from. The first three things I teach every dog, including your dog, is I want the dog to come to me every time I call it. I want the dog to learn to stay next to me, and I want the dog to leave, to go away, to go to basket, to go to bed.
Okay.
All right? Now, one of my favorite authors wrote about this. His name was Conrad Lorenz. He wrote about this in one of his books, and he was a scientist. He won the Nobel Prize for animal science, for ethology, okay? And so that's where I first got this idea from when I first read his book in 1970. And I looked at it and adjusted it, and it makes sense. If you want your dog to go places with you, and that's what you want to be able to do. You told me you want to be able to take him out for a walk, right? He's got to learn that being with you is more important than being anywhere else and visiting everyone else, okay? Mm-hmm. So the way we do this is we start in your home.
Okay.
He has to understand that every time he makes eye contact, it's a loving, affectionate, and you feel it, don't you?
Yes, I do.
I call it smiling with your eyes, because when you smile, Ashley, your eyes brighten up, all right? Most people do. It's awfully hard not to smile with evil eyes, okay? But I'll tell you, at the same time, it's awfully hard. I see people scold their dogs like this, and their face does this, Ashley. They go, and their lips go, and their eyes get real small, and they do this. And so sometimes we do this around my home just as a joke, because everybody does it so much when they want to scold their dog that they make that. So we sometimes will look at our dog and go, "What are you doing, you silly little dog?" And we make it a pleasant thing instead of a nasty thing to show people that it's instinctive. We just do it.
Yeah.
Finger goes up, and the lips go. I want you to teach your puppy that when he looks at you, and we're going to do that in a few minutes.
Okay.
You're gonna smile and tell him how beautiful he is.
Okay.
All right? Every time he makes eye contact with you, you're gonna tell him how wonderful he is. He's smiling Rin Tin Tin. Do you know who Rin Tin Tin is?
No.
No. How about Lassie?
Yes.
Okay. Rin Tin Tin was Cubby's companion. He was a long time ago. He was a German Shepherd dog that worked in a fort, and he lived with the cavalry, and he was Cubby's dog, and Rin Tin Tin was always rescuing the day. He was an awesome dog. So, but he was the pre-Lassie, I believe, or maybe about the same time. I sidetracked a little too much sometimes, Ashley.
It's all good. I do the same thing.
So what we want to do is understand that a behavior that gets rewarded, and this is for everybody to understand, will tend to repeat itself. So if he comes and lays next to you and he gets comfort, he gets a smile, he might want to touch, then that's a good place for him to be.
And is there different ways that we're going to show the audience, like if a clicker works for them, or do you have a clicker with you?
Absolutely.
That way they can know, because I'm able to use a clicker, but some people aren't able to use a clicker. I've heard of a clicker, but I've never used it myself.
Okay. And what we need to do is come up with a way for you to acknowledge to the dog that what he did was good. Everybody's going to have a different ability to do it.
Yes.
I like my voice. I use my voice. I use the word YES instead of good. And really, it's nice. My English friends, when I hung out with them a lot in the 90s, I was finding myself saying, brilliant, because the Brits like, oh, that's brilliant. And one of my favorite dog trainers from the United Kingdom is a woman named Gwen Bailey. She's written some beautiful books, and I give the books out routinely as gifts to people. And she would just look at a puppy and smile and say, "That's brilliant," and I just love it. Not making fun of you, Gwen. I think it's brilliant, and there it is. So the idea is you have to find a word that marks it, that rewards that, to let the dog know that that's perfect. Okay.
Okay.
But if a dog's been doing something over and over, and I'm repeating myself on purpose, if a dog's been allowed to get up on the couch, and we want to teach a dog not to get on the couch anymore, we need to do is teach a dog to get up on the couch on command only.
Okay.
Right? and then transfer it to teaching him a new place to go. So remember the 3 things I want to teach my dog is I want to teach the dog to come to me, stay with me, and go away. So if you're in the chair, right, and your pup is up on the couch, one way to get there's 2 different ways you can get your dog off that couch. One would be what?
To say Romo get down or baby get down.
No, you can say Romo get down, but we can talk right now. But we're gonna eliminate that eventually. But okay, you can tell him to get down. What else can we try doing that make it a higher success?
Sometimes I like come close. It's like try to like, and I don't know if this is the right thing to do because this is our first time being trained together. But usually what I do is I like come in the living room and just say, no, Romo, get down. And then usually he gets down if I get closer to the couch.
Okay.
That way he knows that I mean business.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's the right way.
All right. But it works, but it's only when you get close.
Right.
Right? So we want to be able to teach him the alternative to being on the couch. So the 2 that you've used were both not horrible. They weren't negative. But what can we do to encourage him to get off quicker?
I'll praise him up, like say, "Come here, Romo."
Perfect. We can call him to us, right?
And then do I end up giving him a treat after he gets
During
down?
the training phase.
Okay.
During the training phase, you have to reward the dog.
But only towards the training phase.
Yep.
So after I'm done with the treats, do I stop? Does he just automatically know? Like when I say
Not
come
yet.
here, Romo?
That's how we're going to get him off the couch.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Now we want to teach a dog not to get on the couch. We have to teach him an alternative behavior to that. What would that be?
Alternative behavior.
To being on the couch.
That's.
Why is he on the couch?
Because everyone's sitting there and he wants to be able to be cuddled with everyone.
And
he's
it's
a cuddle
comfortable,
dog.
right? And he gets rewarded for being on the couch. So where else can we do with him to send him to?
His bed?
Yes, we could give him a nice comfy bed. We could put it by next to the couch if you wanted to in the beginning. And you teach the dog that getting on the bed gets a lot of rewards.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And once he starts going in there and he gets more attention, and so if he's up on the couch, we can now say, Fido, I need you go get in your bed. Right?
Yep.
So we don't have to say get off the couch, go to your bed.
Okay.
All we need to do is say go get on your bed.
Okay.
And so what the dog learns is going into the bed. Being on the couch is not the end of the world because I've been allowed to do it before.
Right.
Right? So you can't get mad at me now.
So it's kind of hard to break that because you don't want to get mad at your dog.
Yeah.
But yet you want to teach him it's not okay to go on the new couch.
And let's say it is okay to be on the new couch, but you have company that wants to sit on the couch. You
Right.
don't want people sitting on your dog.
Right,
So
exactly.
what are we going to do? We're not going to punish the dog. What are we going to do?
We just say,
Keep it simple. We just talked
go
about
to your
it.
bed or.
There you go. So now the go to bed is not a negative. It's go over there so we can kind of have a little quiet time,
Yes.
right? Because one of the things you told me that your puppy is very bonded to you and your mom and doesn't like it when you walk away.
No.
Right? So, but if you tell it to go to get on its bed and it gets rewarded for being away from you while you go around the house doing things and
And he knows it's okay to stay there.
You got it. And he'll learn a little independence from you as well.
Okay.
Is this helping?
Yes, it is.
There's a lot to take in.
It's all sinking in at once.
There's a lot to take in. That's why we're going to do this in 2 parts. The first part is understanding what your needs are and understanding what the dog's needs are. And right now he needs to get his leg untied. Oh, he did it. Well, come here. Oh, that's a good boy. I'm going to let you off to go play for a second. And then we're going to get you back and do some training, okay? All right? So when he's all done, I'm going to look at the puppy.
Okay.
And he's going to sniff my tummy. And we're going to tell him, go play. We're going to tell him he can go off and roam around the studio for a couple of minutes while we wrap up.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay? He found his best, the treat bag, didn't he? So again,
Yes, he did.
we want to talk about cues, verbal cues, and not just touching. Touching is good.
Okay.
All right? Touching something like here is
Yep.
okay. But
But
want
maybe
you...
other viewers that are watching the show right now won't be able to
Right.
to do it with their
Right.
disability. Or,
And let's say you want to send them from the chair from there.
yes.
You have to go over and touch the chair, right?
Yes.
So we want to be able to teach him. I get a little Romo here in my mouth. We're going to teach him to get onto the chair because you want to get him on your lap, right? Now you could come over, right?
To come over now or no?
In a second, we're going
Okay.
to talk about the understanding of what we're doing. You could come over, tell him to get up on the chair while you're moving towards the chair.
Okay.
As you're rolling towards the chair, he can learn to get on the chair, and then when you get there, he can learn to get onto your lap.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Make sense?
Yes.
And one of the things that if you have some time, and I'm not sure, I've spent some time at Dogs for the Deaf in Oregon, and I'm not sure if they have videos of their training, but one of the things that they teach dogs there, they like the little dogs.
They teach dogs that are deaf? How does that work?
They teach dogs to be hearing dogs for deaf people.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Because at first I thought you meant the dogs are deaf and you're teaching them. But now I get the concept that you're...
Yep, we can teach us dogs, say for instance, say you lost your hearing.
Yes.
Right? And the doorbell rings. How are you going to know?
He know, like, does he know cues? Like the dog? No cues? Like
He will learn that the doorbell means run back to you, jump up and touch your lap, and then run back to the door. Now, if we can teach little dogs to run to the door,
that would be amazing.
because this is again for people with disabilities.
Right, exactly.
Right? It's a wonderful organization. It's one of my favorite organizations in all of the country. And they run to the door, they hear the doorbell, they run to the owner, jump up because that's why they're little.
Right.
Tap them, and when they get acknowledged, they run back to the door and sit in front of the door. That tells you that somebody's at the door.
That's amazing.
Now, if we can teach little dogs to do this, right?
Right.
We can teach the dog to go jump up in the chair.
Right.
All right?
Yep.
So remember, again, I'm going to fine tune it for you. A behavior that gets rewarded is going to repeat itself. So if he's been rewarded for getting up in the furniture, then it's going to keep repeating it and getting up there because he gets something self-rewarded.
Yeah.
All right? So we want to teach him not to get on the couch anymore. We can't punish him. We have to reteach him to go to a new location.
Like his bed.
His bed. And then what we're going to do is reward him every time he goes into his bed. And then we can call him off the couch saying, hey, go to your bed.
And then he'll automatically know?
Through time, he'll start learning to go to his bed and not getting up on the couch. Remember, for a while, the couch has been self-rewarding.
Exactly.
The other thing that we talked about is you can sit back on your mom or a guest can sit there and he's taught to come up onto the couch only with permission. Now, if he jumps up without permission, it's not the end of the world if you just put him back down and don't make a big deal out of it.
Right.
Don't even talk to him.
Okay.
There's a second rule that I didn't cover because it's very confusing to people. So, and that's a behavior that does not get acknowledged will tend to decrease in probability. Unless the behavior gets rewarded, then it'll always get worse before it gets better. So it's very complicated to worry about it right now. But if he jumps up on the couch, if I'm sitting here and he jumps up my lap and I don't want him, all I have to do is put him down on the ground and sit back.
So you don't even have to say anything to him?
Don't need to.
Okay.
There's, because if I talk to him, I may be unintentionally rewarding.
Okay.
You see, and sure, we could say that me touching him is unintentionally rewarding, but if I just place him down like this, and if he jumps up 15 times and I keep doing it, he'll eventually say, well, this is no fun, and he'll go away.
Right.
It's not the end of the world, you see. We're trying to be practical here. You don't always have to have food, but when you're teaching something, I want to teach you.
That's when you want to use a treat.
I want to teach you how to use it.
When you first teach them how to do whatever you're training them to do or teaching them to do.
So what we're going to do is in a little bit, you want to learn about walking him next to you in the chair.
Yes.
You want to teach him how to get onto a bed, and we're going to teach him how to get on the couch, on the chair. Those are the three things we're going to teach, right?
Okay.
So we're going to teach go to, come to, and stay close.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Make sense?
Yes.
And then you can transfer into everything else that you do. All right? And for anybody who watches your show regularly, if they have questions about something for one of their parents, they're more than happy to either contact you and contact me, and we'll keep communicating and working with each other.
Awesome.
And showing everybody what they can do.
Awesome.
All right. So what I'd like to do now is, first of all, I have my green shirt on.
Yes, and I know I'm not wearing green because I wanted to match Romo's shirt. So, but I have green nail polish.
Tell everybody why.
Green means Cerebral Palsy Awareness, and March is Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month. So anybody that is wearing green any day of this month, that means you're supporting Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month. And I have cerebral palsy, so I'm trying to bring awareness by wearing green.
So it doesn't mean just that you're Irish for the month.
No.
I didn't know this until I went to your Facebook page. And so I'm very happy that I went there because I saw that on your timeline and I shared it on my timeline.
Thank
and
you.
I thought, wow, we have to keep sharing things like this, otherwise we get it out.
You know what's funny is I just learned I just learned that March is Cerebral Palsy Month. I didn't even know that before because I did some research, because I do research on my own on my computer for other shows.
Yeah.
And then it just popped up and said it's Cerebral Palsy Month. I was like,
boy,
I didn't even know that.
We need to get stuff like this awareness out. So, all right. Well, I am very excited. The second part of the show that we're going to be doing is we're going to actually start training the little puppy, Romo, the little puppy. How old is he?
I'm not really sure.
How long have you had him?
That's really quite a while.
You had him for a while. Okay.
We got him in December of, I'm just taking a guess, like 2005, something like that. I'm not really sure.
2005. Wow.
I'm not positive. So.
Was he a puppy when you got him?
Actually,
or was he big?
There's a long story behind it, but I can shorten it if you want me to.
Okay, yeah, because I want to know a little bit about why you end up with this dog.
We actually got him in December. We found him online on, I don't know if it was eBay or it was one of those.
Found him on eBay?
I don't know if it was, like I said, I don't know. We found him online.
Okay.
Someone was giving him away. And so my mom looked at this dog and said, because she looked at him, he's like so cute. And she's like, okay, we need this dog. And we got him in a snowstorm. I think it was like, we took a 2-hour drive. The person that gave him to us was not really nice. She just handed him to us and just said, here, take him. Because she had so many puppies already. And so I don't know how he got brought up before he met us, but he is like a gift from God. He's the best dog ever. I don't know how anybody could just give a dog away like that.
And you're right, and it's done, and you are lucky that you ended up with such a dog that's so adapted to your lifestyle, and that he's not a problem child, and that's good. So let's see what we can do and prove another point that you don't have to dominate your dog to get what you want. You never dominated him. He's a wonderful little puppy. You're a softie.
Yes, I'm a very softie.
You met all his needs, and you do have guidelines and boundaries around the house.
Yes.
Right? That there are some things he's allowed to do and some things he's not. So it's not that he's got total freedom of the house. Am I wrong?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have total freedom of the house.
You hesitated there. You had me nervous.
Hesitated. Yes, I hesitated. See, I'm a softie. That proves it right there.
So now we're going to start showing that we can train an older dog.
Yeah.
How to do extra new things for you. And here's one of the benefits. One benefit is going to be you'll get to spend more time with your dog. What's another benefit to the dog?
That he'll get to spend more time with me.
Oh, I love it. That was perfect. I couldn't have said that any better. We couldn't have even planned that. So what I want to do right now is we want to take a little break. We're going to end this show, and we're going to continue this on the Awesome Ashley Show.
Yes.
And so the whole purpose of this is to understand that you don't need magic to train a dog. You just need compassion. You can be a softie as long as you have boundaries. Okay? And older dogs, the more you train an older dog, I think it gives them a healthier life. And so the goal here today is to show people that there are different things that they can do with their animal to match their lifestyle. And that's what we're going to do in a few minutes. Because folks, really, at the end of the day, it's all about the dogs. And we look forward to seeing you a little bit. And please tune in for the awesome Ashley Show to see the results of our training. Excellent. And now we need to